coming to you in exactly 9 days from now. October 9th is when the News9 Global Summit Germany edition kicks off in Stuttgart in the state of Baden-Württemberg in Germany. Well, it's not just the Stuttgart event this time around. We also have curtain raisers spread across Germany, all the way from Berlin to Munich as well as Karlsruhe, before finally culminating at Stuttgart. Remember, industry captains and policy makers are going to converge to engage on a dialogue on India-Germany relations on trade and beyond. Now remember, the summit comes on the heels of the India-EU FTA, which is likely to be signed by end of this year, and just days after the India-FTA EFTA free trade agreement kicks off tomorrow on October 1st. The summit theme this time around is celebrating the 25 years of strategic partnership between India and Germany. Let's spill some more beans on what this initiative is all about. I've got editor, International TV9 Network, Sridharan, joining me this morning. Shri, good morning. Pleasure having you here with us early morning. Well, this labor of love pretty much coming into fruition. Just about 9 days to go. Spill the beans for our viewers. What should they expect on the second edition of the News9 Global Summit Germany edition?
Good morning, Kartik. I'm happy to spill the beans, but not all of it, because either you have to be there in Stuttgart in person to catch all the excitement, or watch it live on News9 channel. So I'm not going to spill all the beans, but yes, I think you set the tone very nicely. This is a very important year as far as India and Germany are concerned. This year, 2025, marks the completion of 25 years of India-Germany strategic relationship. One of our state partners, Maharashtra, completes 10 years with Baden-Württemberg, which is the sister state of Maharashtra. And, last year we had a fantastic lineup of speakers. So I think this year it's only going to get better. I'm not going to tell you who the exact people or the speakers are going to be, but it's going to be some of the best policymakers, industry captains, thought leaders, and the best of the diaspora crowd as well, Kartik. Yep. So it's an exciting, summit, and it comes at a backdrop of, as you know, large global events where, in some sense, the India-US relationship is unraveling, if I can put it that way. And therefore, there's a greater need for Germany, which is the largest economy in EU, and India to strengthen their ties. EU, as you know, is the single largest trading partner for India as a bloc. And as you mentioned, we should be signing the FTA, the free trade agreement, by end of this year or latest early by next year. And we already do about $120 billion of trade with the EU. And the estimates are, once we sign the FTA, by 2028, this trade should double to about $240 billion, Kartik. Yep. And Germany, as the largest economy in the EU, is going to play a very significant role in driving this partnership, the larger partnership with EU. Because we already see a tremendous amount of traction among German companies, whether it is in terms of automotive factories that they're setting up, component factories, or even the GCCs, Kartik.
Yep.
So, I was at the Indo-German AGM last week, where I met a lot of German CEOs, and the excitement is palpable. Yep. For many of them, Kartik, India is a very strategic, partner, where some of them say that it's extremely important for us to be present in this market, not just for the growth, but to tap the capabilities of this market, the engineering capabilities, the ability of our engineers to innovate. So it's a very important relationship. And as News9, Kartik, I'm very happy that we are able to play a small role to strengthen this relationship and bring some of the most important stakeholders together for a wonderful discussion and collaboration and partnerships.
Absolutely, Shri. In fact, you have mentioned the two critical themes which would be on display and at play at the News9 Global Summit. Of course, the tariff and the tariff threat and all the turmoil that we are seeing in trade across the world right now, instigated by Donald Trump himself. So that is one big theme that we are following at the News9 Global Summit very closely. And of course, the second one that you mentioned, GCCs, again, coming in the wake of the H-1B visa new application crackdown by the US, and the fact that German companies, German enterprises are seeing value in investing in the India GCC story, which is leading to employment here in India and also serving a larger objective, a business objective for German clients abroad. But that's not all. I think another critical sector, Shri, which comes into play right now is the defense sector, and the fact that security is being questioned at a time when this entire NATO framework is up for debate. I think the entire collaboration on the defense sector is a big story to watch out for, and that is something which is also going to be on display at the News9 Global Summit, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, and that will be a totally new dimension to the India-Germany relations, Kartik, because defense is one area. While we've had some help from Germany in the past, for example, we're building a new submarine along with Germany. But when the foreign minister Johann Vadaful was in India, he talked about the entire arc of the Indo-German relationship, and he very particularly pointed about defense. So I guess. And we know that there's a Rheinmetall has tied up with a large Indian conglomerate in India. Hopefully that'll bring to fruition and come to fruition and add to India's Atmanirbharta in defense, which is the government's goal. So I think you can see that the relationship, the dynamics between the two countries now coming into full bloom, so to say. We moved from just automotive sector to education now, and now to defense. So I think this is a flowering of the relationship, and it comes in the backdrop of a significant global churn, resetting of the world order, if I can say. And I think both the countries realize that in the Indo-Pacific, Germany realizes that India is an important partner. And for India, Germany is not just a source of knowledge and IP and market, but it's really two like-minded countries which believe in a rules-based world order, coming together to ascertain and to make sure that this is not something that the world loses. So it's all about coming together to establish a new benchmark in some sense for global partnership, Kartik.
You're right, Shri. And in fact, it's interesting you mentioned Atmanirbhar Bharat, because I think the same question also looms over all of Europe. And with this sort of redefinition of NATO, there is a fairly urgent need for all of Europe to also become Atmanirbhar for its own security, for its own defenses. And that's the reason why European economies are over time going to up their defense budgets to 5% of GDP. India becomes a very, very crucial player there, not just for its own Atmanirbhar emissions, but also to feed components and other material and input, both technology as well as products, into the German machinery and the European machinery, which enables it to become Atmanirbhar in its own defenses.
That's right. So India is one of the largest buyers of arms right now, and we don't have a strong industrial military complex, making us the only exception in the BRICS grouping even that doesn't have its strong industrial military complex. Even Brazil, which is a much smaller economy than India, has a thriving industrial military complex. So I think there's an opportunity for India to collaborate with Germany, not just as a supplier of components for defense equipment, but also to build our own capability, because that's really what the government wants. Government doesn't want to keep buying these defense equipment. At some stage, India should develop a strong, robust defense industrial complex that is able to meet India's requirement for self-defense, for us to have the power to have the latest equipment to give to our armed forces. So I think that's something which will be put in place with this partnership that is now coming into effect, Kartik.
That's right, Shri. And of course, one cannot not mention the opportunities for Indian students to pick up higher education in Germany. And that is another discussion that we have for our viewers and for all the audience as well as the delegates who would be there in Germany at Stuttgart. The study in Germany, there are challenges, of course, which one would have to get accustomed to, especially language becomes one of the barriers, but opportunities are aplenty, Shri. And this comes, of course, by way of, to begin with, and that's not all, a free visa for Indian students to study in Germany. Now, again, in the larger macroeconomic and the sort of geopolitical environment that we live in, with the crackdown on H-1B visas, Indian students looking at education, higher education opportunities abroad, there's enough data that suggests that Germany is becoming a preferred destination. So what else can India as well as Germany do to collaborate to really make sure that there is good quality education being imparted to Indian students, and who can eventually either work in Europe or come back to India and become part of a greater workforce?
That's right, Kartik. So, if you remember, after the US administration announced the 100,000 fee on H-1B, the German ambassador in India, Dr. Philip Ackerman, actually put out a short reel inviting Indian students and Indian skilled workers to come to Germany, and that reel went viral. Literally, just exploded on social media, and even the mainstream media picked up. That's because there's a tremendous interest, which is now we can see among skilled workers and students to go to Germany. Germany has always been a country with very strong focus on engineering skills. Their internship program has actually built the German Mittelstand, which is the backbone of German industry, where you have small mom and pop companies which are world beaters when it comes to technology. So, and don't forget, in Germany, many of the universities, it's free education. If you're a good student, there are scholarships available. So it's only natural that a lot of Indian students will start looking at Germany. And at the master's level, you don't need to know German language as well. But if you're going to go for bachelor's, then there is a requirement. But fair to say that there's a tremendous interest which is now visible. Indian students already form the largest group as a diaspora of students across Germany. So this is going to become stronger, and Germany is also very open. It wants more qualified, skilled Indian students and workers to come and help with the economic growth, because as you know, Germany's population is declining, and the older population, they have a shortage of skilled workers. So I think it's going to be a win-win for both the countries, Kartik. Like you said, Indian students going there studying, and many of them coming back and helping India's own industry develop. I think that's a fantastic scenario to really look forward to.
Absolutely. Well, a lot more in store for all our viewers. Remember, just 9 days to go for the News9 Global Summit in Stuttgart. Sri, thank you so much for all the input that you've given. You haven't spilled all the beans, but I think in the next 9 days, little by little, we will be spilling those beans as well. But thank you so much for your time this morning to put all the expectations from the Global Summit into perspective here for us.